Today, I want to walk you through three of the clearest signals a woman gives when attraction has already started building inside her. Stay with me until the last one, because it's the most subtle and the one almost every man overlooks, even though it happens right in front of him. Curious? Before getting into the signs, there's something important you need to understand. If you've missed these moments before, it doesn't mean you're unaware, awkward, or lacking confidence. It simply means no one ever showed you how to read the way women express desire, and that language is not the same as yours, not even close. Men usually feel attraction and move straight toward it. Women, on the other hand, experience attraction in a more indirect way. They test, they create situations, they open small emotional and physical doors, but they rarely walk through those doors alone. They pause and watch to see if you recognize the invitation and step in with them. From an evolutionary perspective, this makes perfect sense. For thousands of years, women had to be cautious about who they chose, not out of hesitation, but out of survival. That instinct still exists deep within the subconscious today. So, when a woman feels drawn to you, she doesn't announce it loudly. She expresses it quietly, in signals most men never learn to see. And these three signs are those quiet signals. The first one is when she begins to touch you without any real reason. This isn't about accidental or casual contact, it's about the intention behind it. She doesn't need to touch your arm while telling a story. She doesn't need to lightly push you when she laughs. Yet she does it anyway, often without even realizing it consciously. In psychology, this is known as initiating contact. When attraction is present, her body naturally looks for ways to reduce the distance between you. Touch becomes a subtle way of confirming connection, of saying without words, "I feel comfortable being close to you." If you pay attention, you'll notice it in small moments. A brief touch on your arm that lingers just a second longer than necessary. A playful nudge that feels more intentional than random. A reason to make contact that doesn't quite need to exist, yet happens anyway. These are not accidents, they are quiet expressions of interest, happening just beneath the surface. When she touches you and doesn't immediately pull away, that small detail matters more than you think. She allows the moment to linger just a little longer than necessary, and that extra second carries meaning. Curious? It's her body expressing something before she ever puts it into words. If what you're hearing is already clicking for you, take a second to support the channel. A simple like helps keep sharing this kind of insight freely. Now, the second signal shows up in her eyes, but not in the obvious way most people think. Yes, people talk about eye contact, but very few actually understand what to notice. When a woman feels genuine attraction, her pupils can widen slightly without her control. That's her nervous system reacting, not a conscious choice. At the same time, she begins holding eye contact longer than what feels socially normal. Exhales, and when she breaks that gaze, she doesn't just look off to the side, she often looks downward. That downward glance is subtle, but it has been studied for years in nonverbal communication. It reflects openness and a kind of quiet receptiveness. It's not something she learned to perform. It happens naturally. You'll start to recognize a pattern. She looks into your eyes, gives a soft smile, glances down briefly, and then looks back at you again, and then it repeats. It almost feels like a silent message being sent again and again, saying, "I notice you, and I like what I'm seeing." Now here's the third signal, the one that slips past most men completely. She begins to create moments of privacy even when you're surrounded by others. Think about how this plays out. You're both in a group and suddenly she finds a reason to separate the interaction. Maybe she suggests the two of you grab something together. Maybe she calls you aside to show you something small. Maybe her voice drops slightly, like she's about to share something just for you. None of that is random. There's intention behind it. Psychologically, before a woman becomes physically expressive, she looks to create a space that feels safe, both emotionally and physically. She's shaping an environment where connection can deepen. At the same time, she's watching to see if you recognize what's happening. She's waiting to see if you step into that space with awareness and confidence. If you do, everything progresses naturally from there. Understanding how to respond in those moments with the right mindset and presence is exactly what I go deeper into in my full guide, Secrets of Attraction. Inside, I break down not just how to spot these signals, but how to respond in a way that makes her feel she's with the right man. You'll find the link in the description. Before you leave, remember this one thing clearly. Missing these signs in the past doesn't mean you weren't enough. It just means you didn't know what to look for. You were playing the game without knowing the rules. Now you've learned 3 of them, and once you apply this awareness, everything shifts. The next time you notice one of these moments, you won't hesitate or second guess. You'll respond with clarity that most men never develop. And that gives you a real edge. Use it wisely and make sure you're subscribed to Inside Her Heart, because what's coming next will go even deeper. Understanding attraction at a deeper level means recognizing that a woman's signals are often layered and indirect rather than obvious. Beyond touch, eye contact, and creating privacy, you'll notice she invests more attention in you than others. She remembers small details you mentioned, asks personal questions, and subtly mirrors your behavior or tone. Curious, this mirroring builds unconscious rapport and signals comfort. Another key element is emotional responsiveness. If she reacts strongly to your words, laughs easily, or playfully challenges you, it shows engagement and interest. Timing also matters. Kinder thoughtful. She finds reasons to extend conversations or keep you around a little longer. What's important is not to overanalyze every action in isolation, but to observe patterns. One signal alone can be random, but repeated behaviors create clarity. When you respond calmly and confidently without forcing anything, attraction naturally grows because she feels understood, not pressured.